Okay? So these questions, you'll notice there are limits of integration. So at the end of this, I should have a value. And if Georgie were here, she would say, what does that mean? It means that's the area under the curve from 0 to 30 of this function. So shout out to Georgie, wherever you are. All right. So you'll notice that with this one, I'm not going to use u substitution. Okay? I'm just going to try my best to see if I can take the antiderivative, so go backwards, from e to the 0.1x. So the first thing to start off is just to copy it. Just to copy it. Now, if I were to take the derivative of this right now, and you can write it out if you want, or you can think in your head like I'm going to do. If I take the derivative of this, I copy it, which is there, right? I copied it. But then what's the derivative of 0.1 times x? 0.1. Is there a 0.1 there? No. So what my brain thinks is 0.1 times some number better equal 1. I'm going to show you what my brain is doing, okay? So this 0.1, right, is going to go there, right? So 0.1 times some number here needs to equal the number in front of that e, which is 1. All right, and many of you are starting to think about what that number is. The answer is 10. So if you put a 10 there, and now you took the derivative, you would get e to the 0.1 x power. Did I get one? I got one? Oh, man, so good. Georgie, also for you. Okay, plus, what's the antiderivative of 1? That's the derivative of 1. Going backwards is x. You're good. It's okay. It's okay. You're good. All right? Only earlier did you tell me to F off. Okay. Now, since this is a definite integral, and the antiderivative of 1 is x, right? I still need to do that one. I did not use u substitution. So do I need to get new limits of integration? No. So I am doing the same limits of integration. Okay, so make sure you're doing the same limits of integration. So f of 30 minus f of 0. So let's plug in 30 where it says x. And then plug in 0 where it says x. Now, this is one of those like alerts for students. I told you guys, I think last week, that whenever I see 0, I get really excited, right? Because when I plug in 0, I'm going to get 0. But caution, all right? Because when you have e, that's not true, all right? Yes, I see this is 0, but what's 0 times 0.1? 0. What is e to the 0 power? 1. So this here actually becomes 10. All right, so just be careful there. Don't just be like, oh, it's 0. Oh, I'm just going to put 0. It's not when you have that exponent there. So this is going to be minus 10.
Wow.
Do I need to do it again? Okay. So 0 times anything is 0. So it's e to the 0 power. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Not 0, it's 1. So 1 times 10 is 10. 10 plus 0 is 10.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, it's okay. I know. All right, so this is going to be 10 times e. What's 30 times 0.1? It's 3. Okay, and then I only have 2 like terms there. What's 30 minus 10? 20. So my answer is 10 times e cubed plus 20. That is what you'll be typing in to Delta Mac. I did, yes. You can take them off because 30 minus 10. Why is it 20 instead of 30? Well, this was 30, but then when you... Ready for number 2? All right, here we go. Number 2. We're going to do the same thing. All right, same thing. I am going to evaluate this from 0 to 4. Let's back up from e to the negative 0.25x. All right, so here's what my brain is thinking. Because if I took the derivative of that right now, I would not get a 7 in front. Okay? So my brain is thinking, when I take that derivative, I'm going to have negative 0.25. Right? The derivative of this is negative 0.25 times some number that I'm going to put here that's equal to 7. So what number, when you multiply it by negative 0.25, is going to give you 7? It's negative 28. Okay. What's the antiderivative of minus 3? Minus 3x. And again, I did not use substitution, so I will be using the same limits of integration.
Is there going to be a question of these where you do use substitution?
If I can't figure it out, sure. I would say it's more complicated than this. It's just like two separate terms. It would be where maybe it's a binomial that's inside something, like the square root of 1 plus e to the power of x, like we had in our first example. Like in our first example? This one right here?
Oh, that was stinky.
That was stinky?
That's stinky.
No, it's called calculus. Okay. All right. There we go. All right, so let's do f of 4 minus f of 0. So I have negative 28 times e to the negative 0.25 times 4 power minus 3 times 4, all of that, minus negative 28 times e to the negative 2.5 times 0 power minus 3 times 0. It is a lot, yes. Just wait till college. All right, so this is 0, right? 3 times 0 is 0. But 0 times negative 0.25 gives me 0. But in the power, where the base is e, what is e to the 0 power? It is 1. So this is negative 28 times 1, which is negative 28. But remember, what am I doing? I'm subtracting that, so I'm actually going to write plus 28. Okay? Let's do this one here. I have negative 28e. What's negative 0.25 times 4? Negative 1. All right? And then I'm going to write minus 12. What is negative 12 plus 28? 16. I think this would be counted right in Delta Math. It's definitely right on the AP exam, but they might ask you in Delta Math to put negative 28 over e. Because if it says e to the negative first power, you should move it to the denominator. But either of those are fine.